I don't plan on golf. Take a couple day trips over the Grand Canyon.
You like to have firehouses about every 3 miles.
I've been there, but my wife and son haven't.
Like
So.
Sure.
You'll just see and New Berlin does it too. The bigger communities.
It makes sense. I
Nope.
think. We're live now.
Okay,
Go
I'm
do some
going
of
to
the
call
thrill
the
rides.
meeting to order. If everyone could please take their seats. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Steve, help us with the roll call for at least this time.
Sure. Tom, did Doug say he wasn't going to be here?
Doug is not going to be here.
Okay. Alderperson Saloga is excused. Alderperson Barron?
Here.
Valdy?
Here.
Dean?
Here.
Grimmer?
Here.
Kessin? Iker?
Here.
Mayor Atwell?
Present.
And Administrator Hafner.
Here.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any citizens' comments tonight? Item number 4. Any citizens' comments? Come on up, Mary.
Thank you, everyone. I live at 309 Wisconsin Avenue here in our beautiful city of Delafield. And this evening, I'd like to speak to 3 items on the agenda under the City Administrator's Report. Number 1 is resignation of City Clerk Stephen A. Bratz Jr. Steve, I'm really sorry to see you leave. My interaction with you has been the best. The City of Delafield has had 3 clerks resign recently. Sarah Bruckman, who was here from March of 2016 to November of 2017. Michelle Lutke, April 2018 to July of 2020. Stephen, September 2020 to April 21. What has stayed the same is the mayor, the common council, and the city administrator. Please take note of the time between the start dates of these 3 people. Number 2 is the City of Delafield 2021 Urban Forestry Grant Award, $17,486.50. Congratulations to Steve Heinzel, our city forester who did the paperwork. This urban forestry grant is a matching grant, and I'm curious to find out which budget bucket this matching $17,000 will come from. And what is the plan for the canopy preservation and restoration project for 2021? Number 3, it's anticipated that the non-metropolitan cities in Wisconsin are being allocated an estimated $399.2 million in the local fiscal recovery fund. The City of Delafield is estimated at $744,938. This is great news for all the municipalities here in Wisconsin. My question is, how will this allocation be used when it is distributed, and when will that information be public? So thank you. Enjoy this great spring day. Now we're all going to have to mow our lawns.
Great, thank you very much. Susie, come on up.
Sorry.
Susie Thompson, 700 Milwaukee Street. I do want to join Mary in saying that we're really going to miss Steve. And I tried everything I could say to him before the meeting started and talking him out of it. But he said he is definitely leaving us and will definitely miss you. Second on my list, I wanted to publicly say thank you to the city for our phenomenal police and Lake Country Rescue. I've seen them personally in action 3 times in the last 2.5 weeks. The police response to some downtown needs was immediate, kind. The paramedics beyond caring. So I'm extremely impressed. Department of Public Works, a couple things came up over the weekend that I cringed because they both happened on Saturday, and I knew that They would not be addressed until Monday, and I prayed nothing would happen, that anybody would get hurt. Specifically on the southeast corner of Dobkins parking lot, there was broken glass in about a 25-foot by 25-foot area. It was clear glass. We were walking the dog. My husband saw it and pointed it out. And where most people would run from broken glass, I run to it and pick it up with bare hands. I used to do stained glass for 14 years, so I'm used to dealing with sharp glass. There was massive amounts of shards, and glass doesn't deteriorate. It stays there. And on a parking lot where people walk and run barefooted and where dogs are walking through this area, it's a main area. I sent a note to Paul Zellner about it. He had as soon as I sent it last night real late so we would see it when he got in. He sent me a reply this morning at 10 to 7 to say, I've got the street cleaning machine out to take care of it. Thank you for letting us know. I went by after he sent me that note. It was totally cleaned up. The second thing I asked Paul Zellner to see about, there were 2 trees on the northwest corner of the Clearview sidewalk. It's on the street side. It was just a few feet off. Both trees had grown up about 2 feet, about this big around, and then split off. And both trees were totally cracked down the center. And on Saturday morning, they were going, ah, ah, and they were torquing, and both trees were subject to falling over the sidewalk if somebody were walking. To be honest with you, that put me in a panic. I went back down to Fireman's Park, and forgive me, but I'm admitting it publicly. I got some doggy poo bags and wrapped it around the tree, the sides that were subject to falling over the sidewalk. I didn't want to put caution tape because then it would be like admitting we know it's a problem. It made it look like pick up the poo, right? So anyway, they cut off the 2 parts that were bad, and they found a 3rd tree that also was bad, and that was taken care of. So DPW takes care of things very quickly. We appreciate it. Last thing on the list, and I'm done. Tomorrow, please vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
Any other citizens' comments? Seeing none, citizens' comments are now closed. We'll move on to item number 5, report of city officials. City Administrator A.
Yeah, just a few things to report on, as was discussed during citizens' comments, and as I've already shared with the mayor and the council, but just for purposes of making it public, Steve did submit his letter of resignation to me on March 30th. Steve's last day with the city will be April 16th. In the time he's been with us, he's been invaluable as far as improving our operations and efficiencies and coming with a lot of new ideas. Steve will be sorely missed. We're sad to see him go, but at the same time, I know Wauwatosa is one of his dream jobs, and I can understand his desire to pursue a dream. So, Steve, thank you for everything, and best of luck as you go forward. Number 2, also as mentioned during citizens' comments, the city was successful in receiving an urban forestry grant. I identified the opportunity to pursue this grant and work closely with our city forester, Sean Heinzel. Sean did a great job at learning how to navigate the DNR's grant funding system, which isn't an easy thing to do. And he put together a fabulous grant application, and we were fortunate to receive almost $17,500. And the great thing about this is as far as a match, this was just leveraging things that were already in our budget. The council already saw the resolution that we had to sign authorizing pursuit of this grant. And as far as our matching grant, it's going to be made up of, I believe the city approved somewhere around $25,000 to come out of the tree fund. And so this $17,000 will get deducted from that. And in addition to some of that $25,000 used as our match, we're able to use some of our staff labor and things like that as in-kind services for the match. So that was excellent news. And then you've all heard of the American Rescue Plan. Seemingly, it's great news for cities to receive such an influx of money during this COVID thing, but I know politically there is concern about the level of spending at the federal government, but nonetheless, we do have a $745,000, nearly $745,000 allocation coming to us. We're still working through what that can be used for. One of the promising things is that it can be used for lost revenues as a result of COVID. So I anticipate that we will be able to use some of this funding to replace the hotel room taxes that we lost, and also the contributions that we had budgeted as far as the revenue coming back from tourism to the city that they were unable to make back to us. I anticipate we'll be able to do that both for 2020 and 2021. In addition to that, staff is going to continue to work through the different options of what this funding can be used for. We're in contact with other municipalities to understand their ideas of what they're proposing. And the thought is that eventually we'll brainstorm kind of a master list of all the things that the city can consider using the funding for, and bring that to the council for discussion and debate on how we use our funding. Any questions on that?
The restrictions that we're aware of is that the funds cannot be used to offset tax revenue. We can't mail out checks to the public. We can't do any of those things, correct?
So I heard that initially, and then since then I've heard some thoughts that might not be the case for the monies for local government. So I'm still working through the restrictions to understand them better.
Okay. And you get that resource from where do you?
From the state of Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah. Next item, just kind of just a broad update. We've heard from our insurance carrier regarding our workers' compensation, and something that we need to be aware of is that our workers' compensation premiums are going to be significantly impacted by the active shooter event. Not only will it be impacted by the Delafield officer that was involved, but there is a state statute that it says that if an officer is responding to another municipality, the municipality that they're responding to is the one that's responsible for things such as workers' comp issues. If a police vehicle was damaged, it would be, if a Heartland police vehicle would have been damaged, it would have been our insurance that covers it, and things like that. So that's all covered under state statutes. We anticipate the impact to the insurance rates for our officer to begin next year in 2022, whereas the Heartland officer impact probably won't be felt until 2023 just because his length of treatment. We do anticipate that the impact with the Delafield officer will be less than with the Heartland officer, but nonetheless it'll be significant. There is some caps as far as how much it can impact your rates, so at least we have that. And then once the impact hits our rates, it will be in place for 3 years. And we anticipate getting information from our insurance carrier in June as far as specific impact of our officers' involvement, and then an estimate impact of the Heartland officers' involvement.
Tom, when you say it'll impact our rates for 3 years, are you implying, but not guaranteeing, that if we have no other such incidents, that the rates could decrease to former levels?
Every incident that impacts your workers' compensation modification impacts your premiums only for 3 years. It impacts for 3 years, and then it drops off.
And it drops off, just like your auto accident.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And lastly, as you know, Waukesha County, as far as recycling, that used to be a revenue generating task for us. We used to, the amounts of money that we receive for the recyclable content we collected not only paid for our recycling services, but we also received a dividend back from the county. In the last couple of years, that dividend has gone away, and it's become a revenue neutral cost center. But even now, Waukesha County with their recycling is seeing significant issues with their fund balance, much like we see issues with our fund balance and we were spending it down. They've been doing the same, and it's getting to the point where it's getting to be an unsustainable level as far as their fund balance. So they're putting together a committee, and I've been asked to be on it, and we have actually had our first meeting already. And it's a committee to look at alternate models, and really what we're looking at is some kind of a model that when times are good and we're getting good revenue from recyclables and things like that, it could generate a dividend based on where they are with regards to fund balance. And if you drop below a fund balance at a certain level, we may need to start implementing tipping fees for Waukesha County communities where it starts to become an expense for our annual budget. But I'll keep you posted on where that goes from here, but just want to let you know that I'm participating on that. Any other questions this evening? That's all I have.
Great. Okay, we will move on to B, City Clerk. Reminder of the April 6, 2021 spring election.
Yeah, just a couple of reminders. Citizens, you guys, anyone can use the MyVote system, myvote.wi.gov website. You can verify your registration status, look up your polling site location, see what's on the ballot. Couple absentee numbers that we got this time. We actually mailed out 496 absentee ballots. We had 109 in-person absentee voters for a total of 605 absentee ballots that were issued. Of that, we have 362 returned. So we have, I forgot to figure out my numbers. We had 6 new registrations and so 5,565 voters. So that makes a turnout of 6.5% so far. I expect about 200 to 500 voters on election day, but we're asking everyone to go vote. It's your local election. You got your school board races, you got your local races, circuit court judges. The polling site's going to be up at the Christ the King Lutheran Church in the gym, 1600 Genesee Street, open 7 in the morning till 8 at night. We are conducting absentee central count absentee processing here at City Hall. We're starting that at 11 tomorrow. And so if any voters who happen to be listening need to return their absentee ballot, I ask that you do so at the city clerk's office because that's where we're going to be processing. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to number 6, matters for a possible closed session. Common Council may convene into closed session pursuant to the provision of Wisconsin State Statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, and compensation or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. More specifically, regarding the city clerk position. The council will convene into open session after the completion of the closed session to consider the balance of the agenda, which is adjournment. So, just so you're aware.
I move to go into closed session.
I second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Barrett.
Aye.
Valdy.
Aye.
Dean.
Aye.
Grimmer.
Aye.
Kaysen.
Aye.
And Iker.
Aye.
Yeah.
All right, we are back. We have voted to come out of closed session, and seeing no further business, we are now adjourned at 6:59 PM.
Thank you.